More than a year has passed since the world lost Quincy "Delight" Jones Jr., but his fingerprints are on every corner of modern music. 40 years later, people are still asking the same question. How did one man reshape the entire sound of a generation? Quincy Jones wasn't just a producer. He was an architect of sound. Born in Chicago in 1933, he spent 7 decades, not years, decades, building the most transformative body of work in entertainment history. According to the Grammy Awards and verified industry records, he earned 28 Grammy Awards. 28. But that number doesn't begin to capture what he actually accomplished. Jones was there when music needed innovation. He was a trumpeter, a composer, an arranger, a film score writer, a television executive, a magazine founder. He broke barriers that weren't meant to be broken. In 1971, at the Academy Awards, Jones became the first black musical director in Oscar history. When Hollywood executives discovered he was black after hiring him for a film, they didn't fire him. He proved himself so essential that they had no choice but to accept him. But it was his collaboration with Michael Jackson that changed everything. The first time they worked together, according to documented interviews, Jackson originally asked Jones to help him find another producer. Jones saw something in Jackson, a hunger, a perfectionism, a mind that refused compromise. Off the Wall in 1979 sold 20 million copies. It made Jackson a star. But that was only the beginning. Thriller, November 30th, 1982. The best-selling album of all time. 67 million copies sold globally. Not just commercially successful, culturally revolutionary. Jackson and Jones created an album where, as Jackson demanded, there were no B-sides. Every single song was crafted to be a hit. Every track mattered. According to the Grammy records in Britannica's documentation, at the 1984 Grammy Awards, Jackson won 8 awards in one night, a record that stood for decades, with Jones sharing the Producer of the Year Grammy. Then came Bad in 1987. 35 million copies sold. 3 consecutive albums with one producer that collectively sold over 100 million copies. That's not a career achievement, that's a revolution. Jones didn't just produce these albums, he shaped them. He knew exactly which songs would work, which artists should be featured, how to balance genres so seamlessly that listeners forgot they were supposed to sound incompatible. And while Jackson was dominating the charts, Jones was building empires elsewhere. The Color Purple, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, We Are the World, the 1985 charity single that united every major artist of that era, which Jones organized and produced. He founded Vibe magazine, he scored films, he mentored generations of producers who learned the craft by watching him work. According to the Kennedy Center honors records in his biography, Jones received honors that most people only dream about. Kennedy Center honors in 2001, a Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award, the National Medal of the Arts, an honorary Academy Award in 2024, weeks before he passed. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was recognized as one of the most influential jazz musicians of the 20th century by Time magazine. But here's what matters about Quincy Jones in 2026. His influence hasn't faded, it's only deepened. Every time you hear a perfectly constructed pop song, you're hearing what Jones taught producers about arrangement. Every time you hear a collaboration that shouldn't work but does, you're hearing his influence on how genres can speak to each other. Every music video that tells a story comes from the template he established working with Jackson on Thriller. He worked with Sinatra, with Ella Fitzgerald, with Duke Ellington, with Herbie Hancock, with Count Basie, across decades, across genres, across racial boundaries that were supposed to be unbreakable. Jones didn't just break those boundaries, he made them irrelevant. He showed that talent and vision transcend color, that excellence recognizes no borders, that a brilliant idea from a black producer in Jim Crow America could reshape what the entire world heard. On November 3, 2024, Quincy Jones passed away at 91. He wasn't just mourned by the music industry, he was celebrated by presidents, by artists who wouldn't exist without his guidance, by producers who learned their craft studying his work, by millions of people who grew up hearing the sound he defined. You probably don't think about Quincy Jones when you listen to music. Most people don't, but his voice is there, his precision is there, his genius is woven into the soundtrack of modern life. That's not just legacy, that's immortality. The question isn't whether we'll remember Quincy Jones. We can't forget him. The question is whether we'll understand how much we owe to one man who decided that excellence was the only acceptable standard, and who refused to compromise that vision even when the world told him it was impossible.